Protesters gathered in cities across the country today, Colorado too, as a show of force, pushing back against the Trump administration's agenda. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jennifer Meckles. More than 1,400 protests were scheduled all across the country today in every of the 50 states. They called these the hands-off protests, organized by Democratic activists pushing back on mass layoffs of federal workers, deportations, cuts to federal funding for health programs and DEI initiatives, and protections for transgender people. There were several hands-off protests in Colorado too, with the largest outside of the state capitol in Denver. We asked people what drew them out to join the crowds today.
I'm hoping that it shows that we are united, that we can put up a good fight for this, and that we can't be disregarded. You know, our opinions, our feelings, our anger, things we feel that it won't be just lost.
In a statement released ahead of today's event, organizers accused the Trump administration, as well as advisor Elon Musk, of believing, quote, this country belongs to them. The new head of the Environmental Protection Agency stopped through Denver today to visit the Denver water treatment facility. 9 News reporter Spencer Soicher was there for that tour, and his visit, Spencer, really comes at a time when the EPA is seeing drastic changes under the Trump administration for a number of things.
Yeah, EPA workers were offered that fork in the road email too, that deferred resignation program offering workers about 8 months pay to quit. Many of them now wondering if their jobs are in jeopardy. But his visit also comes as the EPA rolls back pollution regulations, which could have an impact for people living near the often penalized Suncor refinery in Commerce City. The new administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency made his way to Denver Saturday. Lee Zeldin put on the safety goggles, visiting Denver Water for a tour of its water recycling plant. But Zeldin's visit to Denver comes as the EPA is undergoing significant changes under the Trump administration, including what Zeldin says will be a 65% cut in the EPA's budget, which includes staffing.
We do not want one more or one less than what we need to be able to do our job for the American people. And I think we owe that answer to the American taxpayer.
Zeldin says no final decisions have been made about cuts, including for the roughly 900 workers in Region 8, where Colorado sits.
There's no message whatsoever that I'm here to deliver to anyone in Region 8 about their jobs being in jeopardy.
But the EPA has announced dozens of federal regulation rollbacks that could have impact on communities near the Suncor refinery in Commerce City. Suncor has paid millions in penalties to the EPA while still violating pollution limits. The New York Times reports the EPA plans to eliminate the scientific research arm, which lays the foundation for the rules to protect people from environmental pollutants. Without those workers, we asked Zeldin if his EPA plans to hold Suncor accountable.
I have to have some type of an internal meeting to hear what the team would have to say on that. That is not a topic that's come up as it relates to that site, but I am more than happy to hear what kind of internal feedback the team has for me to consider.
During that tour today, Denver water officials asked for Zeldin's help on the now halted construction of the Gross Dam expansion. That project is caught up in court right now, with the judge just this last week ruling to pause it. Zeldin didn't make any promises, but said he'd take the feedback with him to Washington, D.C. Spencer Soicher, 9 News.
What a difference 24 hours can make. From bitterly cold temps at our home opener for the Rockies to now a little sunshine over Coors Field today. We didn't get super warm. We reached just above 40 today, but still warmer temperatures than yesterday, and even warmer are on the horizon. We could even hit the 80s next week. Corey Reppenhagen joins us now with some good news, because it can't get much worse than snowflakes during a home opener.
Yeah, I have not been able to deliver good news about weekend weather in a while, and it looks like this coming weekend will be free of cold temperatures and wet conditions. So that is a good news coming forward here. This drying trend that you see on the satellite here across the state will carry into tomorrow morning. So we'll have some sunny skies out there across the Front Range. Temperatures right now are dropping pretty steadily here into the 30s, 32 degrees at Denver International Airport. And those temperatures are headed to the middle 20s here once again. And here is your daytime temperatures here in for Denver on Sunday. Monday, we'll have quite a bit of sunshine early on, but the clouds will come in here by about 2:30 in the afternoon, but the temperatures will still make it up there pretty close to 60 degrees. And then after this day, starting Monday to kick off the week, we're going to start talking about 70s and yes, 80s by next weekend. All that's coming up in the full forecast.
Corey, thank you. Police are investigating tonight after 2 people were shot in the parking lot of the Foothills Mall in Fort Collins today. Happened just after 5:30. Police say both people that were shot went to the hospital. It is unclear how they're doing tonight. Some people were sheltered inside the mall when this happened. Police closed off the building. Later, they were able to escort people out safely. As of right now, nobody's in custody, but police say they do have leads on a possible suspect.
We think the suspect is still here in this area around the Foothills Mall. So there's not a public safety risk to the greater Fort Collins community, but we are asking people to please avoid this area until we do have that secured.
Again, they're asking folks to avoid the area, and once we get more information, we'll update you both on 9 News here on air and online at 9news.com. A woman has now died from her injuries after she was shot in an Aurora parking lot after an argument this past week. Police say this happened yesterday in the evening in the area of North Peoria. When police arrived, they found a woman with a gunshot wound, and the suspect, Stanley Daves, was reportedly inside a car nearby along with a weapon. Police arrested him. He's now facing charges for first-degree murder. Tonight, it's not clear exactly how these two knew each other. Late last night, a jury in Boulder County convicted the driver who hit and killed 17-year-old Magnus White. After 7 hours of deliberation, the jury found Yiva Simlianska guilty of vehicular homicide. White was training with Team USA at the time of his death back in 2023. His parents say last night's verdict does bring accountability, but not closure. They've spent the past 2 years working alongside cycling advocates, turning their grief into action. Despite last night's verdict, they say the fight's not over.
This verdict acknowledges what we have known all along. Magnus's death was not an accident, it was a crime.
Sadly, we've learned that we are not alone. Through countless families we've met, this happens every day across this state, across this country, and that needs to change.
Smiljanska will be sentenced in June. She faces 2 to 6 years. Meantime, advocacy groups like Bicycle Colorado, they're now working on legislation to try to increase the punishments for drivers who hit and kill cyclists and pedestrians. Layoffs reached their 3rd highest ever level last month, according to a new report published this week. It found more than 275,000 layoffs were announced in March, a 60% jump from February, and the highest level since the COVID-19 pandemic. Biggest group, federal workers. Despite that data, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency still plans to axe more than 216,000 federal jobs. In fact, DOGE is now eyeing the Department of Homeland Security as its next target for layoffs, according to CNN. Multiple sources told the news outlet the firings will be significant, could even include job cuts at U.S. Secret Service, FEMA, Customs and Border Protection. A senior official at the Homeland Security Department says they will eliminate non-mission critical positions and bureaucratic hurdles that undermine the mission to secure the homeland. Tonight, the Department of Veterans Affairs is joining a number of federal agencies giving employees the option to resign. In an email sent to employees, Veterans Affairs Secretary said that the ultimate goal is to reduce the agency's workforce by 15%. That email also claims that employees who accept the resignation offer will get paid through the end of September. This opt-in period runs from April 7th to April 30th.